Hi, it's been a while. Where do I even start? A lot has happened since my last video. A lot of lessons learned, core memories made that I'll forever treasure and reminisce when I'm old and grey. A lot of painful, life-changing events, and a lot of blissful ones too. And I'm excited to share all of them with you. When I started this channel, I was just a little 21-year-old kid from a small city in Malaysia. I was so obsessed with being big in life. Maybe not the best in everything, but big enough so that those who hurt me and belittle me can never reach me ever again. I threw myself into work. I always knew I was meant for something huge in life, but I can never quite put my finger into what it actually is, what I'm actually meant to do or be. All of my wants, desires, interests, and so-called passion always seem to be centered and dictated by society and my social circle without me even being conscious of it. Until I eventually got out and break through the noises just to realize that maybe, and just maybe, what others view as success just doesn't align with mine. And it took me a while to learn that that's perfectly fine. So I was stuck in the unknown. It wasn't that I was drowning or sinking, but it felt more so that I was surviving than living. And it wasn't that I was surviving because I did not have what it takes to live. At that point, everything was going fine. I had my business and it was going great. I had my friends, family, and my partner. But it felt like I was surviving in a sense that if I were to die, then and there, that's what it's all gonna be about. The narration of me surviving the crash. What happens next? No one knows. It's like watching a rom-com movie. Girl gets guy, girl survives half the battle of getting the guy. But once she gets the guy, what happens next? The credit rolls up and we're just left there, stuck in the unknown. We make the most of it by making up assumptions for the best. So I decided to find out what's next for me. Everyone talks about the pursuit of success, happiness, retirement, and all the goods in life. But no one talks about what comes after. The maintenance, the boredom, the fading of excitement, the constant need to exercise appreciation and gratitude for life just so you don't lose touch of what it took to get there. The battle you fought, the trials you face, the hard work, and of course the privilege and blessing you've been gifted. And don't get me wrong. It's not that I have everything figured out and I've achieved everything that I've ever wanted in life and that's it. That's the end. But it's more so I'm at my happy ending, or at least it feels like it. It's just that there's no ending. Okay, imagine having this huge ass dream that you never thought you could ever achieve. Like you're looking up at a 10 feet tall ceiling as a kid, and you try to reach for it with your hand, but you can't, because you're so tiny. But then you grew up, and as you grow, you start getting closer and closer, and it scares the shit out of you, because you're more so far from the ground than the ceiling, unlike before. And you fear falling, but you kept going, until eventually you grew so big that you have to tuck your head in just to pass the ceiling itself. Spoiler alert, it's not about the ceiling. It felt like everything I had ever envisioned for myself as a kid, well, almost everything that I've been working for the past 3 years or so has blossomed, and I'm reaping the benefits of it now. I just never envisioned it was possible, yet alone getting here so soon, and I'm grateful. I can't emphasize enough how grateful I feel and how much appreciation I have for my struggles and hard work and sacrifices, and how lucky I feel to be able to experience this life. But at the same time, it made me wonder if the life I envisioned for myself, and if my dreams were small to begin with. I felt the need to move the goalposts further and further, because this just can't be my peak, right? This just can't be it, I thought. But what's next? Do I keep chasing figures after figures? most stuff, biggest stuff, highest status stuff? Do I really want to go down that road? So I did what I always do best when encountering uncomfortable confrontation with myself. I left. I never really knew life outside of personal growth, finances, and all of these metrics of success that I benchmark myself against. I started traveling more and more. My partner and I went to Korea, Japan, Bali, and eventually we left our rental place in Malaysia to travel full time. We had no specific place to call home, but we made it work. And I remember moments where I was filled with joy, feeling the cold breeze running through my hair in Seoul, watching the city lights flicker in Tokyo, and soaking under the sun in Bali, exploring the old towns in the French Riviera, trying out different flavors of gelato almost every day in Florence, and seeing the parliament light up for the very first time in Budapest. I felt so alive. For once, it didn't feel like I was surviving, but that I was actually living. And not for anyone else, but for me. And there was just another side that traveling brings out in me. The feeling of being present in the moment, not worried about the past, the future, the scary unknown. Just focus on experiencing whatever it is that's currently happening, deep within the moment. And that's where I learned that everything we've been told is total bullshit. From a young age, we're indoctrinated with the idea that if we follow a certain path, ticking off boxes along the way will inevitably reach our happy ending. We're told that if we excel in school, get a stable job, find love, and achieve financial security, then only we've made it. Then we have a life deemed good, a life worth living. But what even is a good life? And is there even such thing as a happy ending? Life, as it turns out, is not a neatly packaged fairy tale with predictable conclusion. So what happens when you achieve all those milestones, all those markers of a good life? What comes after success, after happiness, and what even is the idea of good and happy? Because from what I've learned, what constitutes a good life for one may not resonate with another. And in the grand mosaic of existence, there's no clear distinction between the good and the bad, the happy and the sad. And the answer, well, my answer, it seems, as I've come to learn, lies not in seeking some elusive happy ending, but in the cliche everyday act of living. In this narrative of mine, that I sooner learned, there is no final chapter, no definitive period to end the story, even when you cross that finish line or finish that book, even when you've so-called made it in life. Instead, there's an ellipsis, a continuation that stretches on and on and on until the inevitable endpoint we call death. There is no happy ending. There is just living. Life doesn't miraculously begin or end or start all over again after retirement, marriage, or even reaching your deemed happy ending. Life just goes on. It passes and fades whether you like it or not. I once believed that once I achieve my dreams, once I've done the impossible of reaching that ceiling that I once thought was impossible to reach, then only I've made it. And all my worries would somewhat come to an end, and life of true living would finally begin. When I did, I was as happy as I'd imagined to be. But that happiness fleeted away as time passes. And just like all things in life, nothing is permanent. In this life, there are no end credits. Season 2 just kicks in with a thicker plot and new problems arises. But I've learned that you somewhat get to decide what's next. You get to decide what you give your attention and time to. And more importantly, you get to choose your narration. And those happy moments where I felt so incredibly alive, they weren't about reaching some preconceived destination of happiness or success. They were about fully immersing myself in the present, where I'm unburdened by the past or the future. So where am I with this and everything? Well, I'm still a 21-year-old Malaysian with an existential crisis. Traveling and currently in Europe. Not sure where I am by the time this video is published. Just trying to live life. The answer, well, my answer, my final answer, is that I have no answer. Absolutely no idea. Nothing figured out on what's next. And I'm learning to be okay with that. Learning to perhaps navigate this maze of existence with an open heart. Embracing the uncertainty, the unpredictability, the scary unknown. All of the bliss intermingle with those of sorrow and every shade of emotion in between. I guess this is my long way of saying that I've finally learned and understood that it's truly not about the destination, because there's literally isn't any in the grand scheme of things. But it's about the journey. So, here's to living. I hope you have one heck of a time.